only talk about money once we've made it. Once we've quit the job, built the thing, have the success story to tell. Nobody talks about working 40 hours a week, driving 400 miles a week, and being terrified that you'll never be able to make it as a creator at all. So that's what we're doing today. I work 40 hours a week as a caregiver for developmentally disabled adults. I drive an hour each way. That is 400 miles a week for me in just commuting alone. And I'm trying to build an income as a creator with whatever time and energy I have left, which some weeks is literally nothing. And every time I talk about wanting to build income as a creator, I get this wave of shame. Like I should just be grateful that I have a job already. Like wanting more or wanting something different is ungrateful or entitled. I get this feeling like I'm failing because I haven't figured out how to make a full-time income yet. And it's layered. There's the fear of visibility. If I actually put myself out there in a way that would generate income, people will see me, like really see me. And what if I'm not good enough? What if they think that I don't know what I'm doing? There's shame around charging. This voice in my head that says, who are you to ask for money? You already have a job. You're not an expert. You don't know enough. You're not skilled enough. Your work isn't valuable enough to charge for. You haven't earned the right. And then there's this fear of judgment. That if I focus on building income through being a creator, people will think I don't care about the job I have right now. Or that I'm not like an authentic creator because I'm doing this out of like financial need, not just passion. But there's also just like exhaustion. I'm already working full time. I'm already driving 2 hours out of every day. And then I'm supposed to like show up as a creator and build a business and be consistent and have monetization figured out. Like with what time and what energy? And if I can't make my dreams a reality, like what does that say about me? Because underneath all of this, I think is this deeper fear that I won't be able to make income as a creator at all. That I'll stay stuck in my job forever, exhausted and driving every day and never building the thing I actually want to build. And the fact that I haven't made it happen yet despite wanting to, despite trying, is proof that I can't. I've been thinking a lot of like where these blocks actually come from. And I need to be honest about this. If you're new here, this might be news to you, but I grew up in a severe poverty. We were homeless at times. I was malnourished. There were times where we didn't have electricity. Money wasn't just stressful, it was survival. And when you grow up like that, money gets tied to safety. And it's in a way that's really hard to untangle. When you're a kid and you can't get money, when you need basic things and they're impossible to access, you internalize that. You learn that money is scarce, that you probably won't get it, that wanting is dangerous because you'll just be disappointed. And even now, as an adult with a job and a bank account, that kid is still in there believing that money is impossible to get. So when I avoid looking at my bank account, when I'm terrified to charge for my work, when I can't actually imagine making income as a creator, I'm not just dealing with normal money anxiety. I'm dealing with survival level scarcity programming from childhood. My nervous system learned that money equals safety, and that safety isn't something that I get to have. And that is so hard to unlearn. And then on top of that, there's this messaging that I absorbed that if you have a job, like any job, you should just be grateful. You shouldn't want more. You shouldn't complain. Wanting something different is selfish, ungrateful, or proof that you don't appreciate what you have. And when you grew up in poverty, that messaging hits different. Like, who am I to want more when I have electricity? I have a roof over my head, like my bills are paid. And then there's this thing that happens in the creator space. There's this unspoken rule that if you're authentic, you don't care about money. You're passion driven. You're here for the mission, not the income. And if you talk about needing to make money, suddenly you're like less pure and less trustworthy. But most creators I see talking about money already have their income figured out. They're doing creator work full time, or they have partners supporting them, or they've already built the thing and now they're teaching it to us. They're not working 40 hours a week somewhere else and trying to build this in the margins. They didn't grow up in poverty wondering if money was even possible for them. So when they say just follow your passion and money will come, it feels like completely disconnected from my reality. And somewhere in all of that, I started believing that my worth is tied to if I can make it work or not. That if I'm not making money as a creator, I'm failing. That if I can't figure this out while also working full time, it means I'm not smart enough or disciplined enough or creative enough. That I don't have what it takes. That I'm destined to struggle with money forever because that's just who I am. And here's the thing I'm just starting to see. I've been trying to control where the money comes from. Like it has to come from this specific thing in this specific way or else it doesn't count. I have this narrow vision of what making it as a creator has to look like. And anything outside of that felt like failure, which means I'm dismissing opportunities because I'm deciding that they're not the right kind. I'm definitely making this harder than it needs to be because I'm attached with how it looks. So here's what I'm trying to unlearn. And this is messy and I don't have it figured out, but I'm trying to actually get involved in my finances, which sounds so basic, but I've been avoiding it. I've been treating my money situation, it's something happening to me instead of something I have like agency in. I've been afraid to look at my bank account, afraid to track what's coming in and going out, afraid to make a plan because making a plan feels like I'm admitting I'm not where I want to be. So I've just been floating, working, driving every day, hoping something shifts, telling myself I'll deal with it when I have more time or more clarity, but that is just another form of hiding. And it's so hard because when you grow up the way that I did, looking at your finances feels like dangerous. It feels like opening a door to all that childhood fear. What if there's not enough? What if I cannot make it work? What if I'm still that kid who cannot get the basic necessities? So avoiding it has been like a protection mechanism, but it's not protecting me anymore, right? It's just keeping me stuck. And I'm really trying to be honest of what I actually have the capacity for, because I've been beating myself up for not doing more, not posting more, not building faster. But the reality is that I work 40 hours a week. I drive 8 to 10 hours just commuting a week. I am tired. And pretending that I have unlimited time and energy to build a creator business is just setting me up to fail. I'm also trying to separate the fear of visibility from the action of being visible. Because every time I think about putting myself out there in a bigger way, launching something, promoting something, asking for a brand deal, my brain goes into panic mode. You're not ready. You're not good enough. People will judge you. You'll fail. You already have a job. Why are you being greedy? But the truth is that I don't know if I'll fail. I don't know what will happen. And staying invisible because I'm afraid of judgment is not protecting me. It's just keeping me stuck in a situation I don't want to be in forever. Same with charging for my work and asking for brand deals. I keep waiting to feel like I've earned the right to charge. Like I need to hit some level of expertise or follower count or credibility before I'm allowed to ask for money. But that's just another way that I'm making my worth conditional. Another way I'm telling myself like I'm not enough yet. And meanwhile, I'm exhausted and still broke and still waiting for permission that's never going to come. And I'm trying to release control over where the money comes from. To stop deciding it has to look a certain way or be from a specific source, or else I've failed. To actually be open to possibilities instead of narrowing my vision to this one specific path, and then beating myself up when it's not going fast enough. So what does this actually look like in practice? It looks like opening my bank account app even though I'm terrified. It looks like tracking my expenses. It looks like making budgets. It looks like asking myself, what is one small thing I can do this week to move towards building income? And then trying to actually do it, even if it's just 10 minutes because that's all I have. It looks like pitching brains even though I'm scared, charging for something even though I feel like a fraud, promoting something even if I'm afraid people will judge me, not because I've suddenly become confident, but because I'm refusing to let fear make all my decisions. Here's what I'm trying to remember, even when it's hard. My worth is not tied to my income. Whether I make money as a creator or not does not define my value as a person. Whether I figure this out quickly, slowly, or not at all, it doesn't mean I'm a failure. And growing up in poverty doesn't mean I'm destined to struggle with money for the rest of my life. That was childhood. That's not a life sentence. I'm allowed to have a different relationship with money now. I'm allowed to believe that money is actually accessible to me. And I can learn this. My past does not have to define my future. And my caregiving job, that is real hard work. It matters. It's exhausting and it's undervalued. And I show up for it 40 hours a week and I work my ass off. But wanting to build something else on top of that doesn't make me ungrateful. It doesn't mean I'm failing at this job or that I don't want to be there. It means like I'm a whole person with multiple desires and needs and limitations, and that's allowed. It's kind of like body neutrality. With body image, I had to learn that I don't have to love my body to refuse to let it decide whether I show up. With money, I'm learning that I don't have to have it all figured out to take action. I don't have to feel confident to try. I don't have to be an expert to charge for my work. I don't have to work less than 40 hours a week to build something on the side. And I don't have to heal all my childhood money trauma before I start building income. And I'm trying to reframe what failure even means. Because right now, I've defined failure as not making income as a creator yet. But what if failure is actually just staying stuck in fear? What if failure is letting shame keeping me from trying? What if failure is avoiding my finances and pretending like it's somehow protecting me? What if failure is working myself into the ground and never even attempting to build something different? What if failure is letting my childhood poverty define what's possible for me now? I'm allowed to want to build an income without having it all figured out first. I'm allowed to be in the messy middle of this. I'm allowed to be exhausted and still try. I'm allowed to go slow because I'm working full time. I'm allowed to make mistakes and learn as I go. I don't need to have all the answers before I start. I don't need to have endless time and energy. I just need to keep showing up with what I actually have. And maybe the work isn't figuring out the perfect monetization strategy. Maybe the work is untangling my worth and my income. Worth from my income. Getting honest about my finances. Releasing control on how it has to look. Working with my actual capacity instead of punishing myself for not doing more. Choosing action over avoidance. Showing up even when I'm scared and tired. Unlearning the scarcity programming from childhood, one small decision at a time. So I'm working through my money blocks right now. Fear of visibility, shame around charging, fear of not being good enough, the exhaustion of working full time and trying to build something else, fear that I won't be able to make income as a creator because I haven't made it happen yet, childhood poverty and scarcity programming that tells me money isn't for me and is impossible to get, and I'm trying to unlearn all of it, trying to actually get involved in my finances instead of avoiding them, trying to separate my worth from my income, trying to give myself permission to want this even though I already have a job, trying to believe that money is actually accessible for me, and I don't have this all figured out. I'm not on the other side of it. I'm in the messy middle of it, which is exactly why I wanted to talk about it. Because we only share the money stuff once we've made it, once we've quit the day job and are doing creator work full time and have the success story. But what about the messy middle? What about when you're working full time and exhausted and still trying to build something and you don't know if it's even going to work? What about when you're carrying childhood poverty trauma and trying to build it anyway? So if you're working through the money blocks too, if you're working a job you need, but trying to build something else, if you grew up in poverty and you're trying to unlearn scarcity, if you're afraid of visibility or shame around charging or fear that you won't be able to make it work, you are not alone. This is hard, and it's okay that it's hard. You don't need to have it all figured out. You are allowed to be in the mess of it. You are allowed to be tired and still try. Your past does not determine what's possible for you now. Your worth is not tied to your income. Your value isn't conditional on having this figured out. You're allowed to want financial stability and still be authentic. You're allowed to need money and still care about your mission. You're allowed to work full time and build something else, even if it's slow. You're allowed to have grown up in poverty and still believe money is accessible to you now. Both things can be true. Please drop a black heart emoji if you needed to hear this. And if you're working through money blocks while also working a full-time job, or if you're unlearning childhood poverty programming, I would love to hear what that looks like for you. Let's normalize talking about this stuff because it really does matter. And I will see you in the next one.